Hi, my name is Swarup. I love to draw and I am good at sculpting. But does that make me an artist? I love music and I am into composing a tune or two, fiddle around with some musical instrument. But does that make me a musician? I love theater, I like to act and mimic. Some of my friends say I'm an over actor. But does that make me an actor? Well, they are my friends, they're allowed to say so. I did my engineering like most of the people in my generation, and I worked with companies like Bajaj Auto and L&T way back in 2007. Does that mean that I have stopped being an engineer now? I did my animation from the National Institute of Design. So am I now animator or a designer? I started my animation design studio a few years back. So am I supposed to be labeled as an entrepreneur now? Well, seems like I'm a jack of many trades. No, not that jack. Yeah. So I don't think I like to be labeled by any of the things I did in the past or I have been trained to do because I think it in a way cuts down on the possibilities of what I can do in future. And isn't life about all these new year possibilities? By living a life labeled by what you can do, I think somewhere in our subconscious we try to align to the stereotypes associated by that label. And trust me, there are stereotypes for everything that has a label. Oh, so you're a bong and you're in the creative field. You must be a chain smoker. Oh, you grew up in a defense family, so it must be a very strict upbringing, isn't it? Well, on the contrary, I don't smoke. And my dad, who definitely had an exemplary career in the Indian Air Force, uh, has always been a very spiritual and a very philosophical person himself. Both my parents pushed me and my sisters to always try and learn something new apart from pursuing our academics. Of course, as long as we kept our academics in place. But they didn't put us into different class or training programs thinking how that would contribute in our future career or anything like that. This simply supported us in whatever we liked to do and we took up ourselves. And by them showing interest and seriousness in what we chose, uh, it somehow made us feel that seriousness in learning that new thing. I always feel that you must have fun learning things. But with everything that you are pursuing with passion and trying to learn, the fun will not always come with the ease and simplicity that you encounter while learning something new in the beginning. You would go through that ups and downs in the journey of learning. And the fun you have to extract is from that up and down that you experience. Now, when you talk about learning new things, you need not be much worried about how much sense it makes to you at this point in time. Because eventually the dots do connect. At least it connected for me. A lot of people feel that my career in animation after engineering was a drastic change. But if you ask me, it was simply the dots getting connected. Uh, in animation, I could tell stories, I could make my characters act, and also my experience in understanding music and art contributed in making the films that I make and working with creative people around. And when you talk about, say, for that matter, my understanding of body mechanics that I picked up from Taekwondo or my whatever dance I did, it helped me in animating or giving life to the characters that I was animating. When it comes to the academic learning, I acquired the logical reasoning and thinking that helps me plan my productions and design content for my animation. And also, I would say my affinity for maths has made me strong enough that I don't fear the numbers when I'm looking at the balance sheet and the accounts books of my firm. So everything kind of added up when I took this decision. I would like to share some of the work that I have done in animation at my studio. My parents, especially my mother, is someone I blame for not teaching me to be obsessed about earning big money. She always said that it is not important uh, what you do or how well you do or how much money you're making doing that. But what is more important is whether or not you're a good human being, whether you're empathetic, whether you are sensitive. That is more important. And till today I'm striving to lead my life keeping that in mind. And maybe that is why I love making films on socially relevant themes. In the past I've made films on disability, films on gender equality, child sexual abuse, uh, gender discrimination, women. So all these films had characters who had shown exemplary strength, and they had faced adversities in their lives. Say, for example, in the film Amlu, this princess overcomes her inhibitions and finds her voice to fight back and expose her uncle who was abusive. In the film Muskan, this bubbly little girl from Himachal takes on her own grandmother and convinces her family out of this heinous crime they were about to commit of female feticide. The film Pahel is to motivate women entrepreneurs to start their own ventures. So all these films have uh, characters who have faced these struggles and challenges and they've overcome them. But on the contrary, if I look back in my life, I had a very cocooned, safe upbringing. And while having that, I I don't remember facing any adverse situations that totally bogged me down. And when I was told that the theme of the talk today is going to be resilience, I could not figure out much from my life that what examples do I bring out. But to bring me to that, I actually ended up making a short comic book while I was in my design school about this cocoon upbringing of mine. The story of a geeky old little boy who was excellent at everything he did. Like he was sincere and he put his 100% in whatever he did. And eventually, one day he reads this quote from a book that all successful people fail in their life, and he was like, damn, I never failed in my life, so am I not destined to be successful? And then he gets into trying out things that he thought he's not good at, and he tried failing at them, but circumstances made him even excel at that. And he was dejected that, oh, I could not fail. So in the end, his best friend makes him realize that you did fail at failing. So my life has been a little bit like that. But talking about resilience, I feel it is not about being tough, or it's not about being strong. It is more about having this quality to spring back after facing a certain adversity or stress in your life. And talking about these adversities, the quality that comes handy is adaptability, or ability to handle change in life. If you come to think of it, a child is like wet clay who is moldable, who is ready to absorb various identities and learn more. But as we start growing up, we start losing this moisture, and we start becoming more and more rigid. We start associating a lot of identities, a lot of assumptions about ourselves, and we become rigid. And once we become rigid, we become brittle, and all it needs is that one impact, that one adverse situation in our life that shatters us down into broken pieces, and then we struggle to put ourselves back together. Only if we could retain that moisture that we have in our childhood and have this ability to change ourselves and evolve better versions of ourselves, we would not face that kind of a situation. Now, thinking of my upbringing, since my dad always kept having these transfers from one city to other, I was kind of used to this leaving old friends and old world and making a fresh start with a fresh slate every time. So kind of got conditioned to this changing scenarios. And maybe that's why I never had to test my resilience ever. Because change always came and I found a way around it. This way of life got so much into me that when I started my studio with Anuj and Avinash, I call them brothers from another mother, my best friends. So, like a chameleon, we being a design led studio, we adapt to the changing requirements of every project that we do. We don't stick by saying, oh no, we do only this. No. Whatever is the project, whatever is the target audience, whatever is the budget, the timelines, there are many factors. And basis that we decide what is the best solution that we can offer for this project. So it helps me even professionally. So as the wise Buddha said, that change is the only constant in life. So we cannot avoid these changing scenarios. What we can best do is keep our clay wet. Thank you.